if you follow me on Instagram, you already know what happened last week with my Zwift Games Sprint Championship race. I fumbled the way in. There's a lot going on at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I forgot to update my weight in game. It's just like a tiny little detail, but like a really important one, because that is essentially how you get your speed in Zwift. So I had to get removed from the race. I did stick around and watch the rest of the racing though, despite my heartbreak. Mika actually got through to the second round and ended up coming third overall. She almost had the win. She was this close in a final sprint. She's just one of the most clever riders I know, and it was fascinating to watch her and see how well she rides through the pack. There's been a lot of changes to pack dynamics as well, so I wanted to have a look at how that played out in the race. Super fascinating. Let's get into it. So first up, the courses. So we had loop-to-loop, 2 laps of this, a couple of really punchy climbs in there, and that was 25 kilometers long. Then we moved on to Jurassic Coast. This is a point-to-point, about 20 kilometers, very undulating. Then 5 laps of the Glasgow crit circuit that we all know and love. Mika was actually put up as one to watch, as she should be. Look at those power numbers, am I right? And now we're off. So at this point, I am in the race. I last about 9 minutes or so. So there I am. I'm number 33. So yeah, these are the good times. It was actually really hard. The start was so hard. And I know it looked like quite placid, but it wasn't. It was just a big bunch and it was all moving so fast that I think it was too hard for anyone to really attack. So Emma Belforth makes an attack there, but doesn't quite get away, and she ends up dominating this series, this first and second race, and then trying to do the same in the third. So I want to pay attention to what Mika does. She's always dropping back, going into corners or before climbs so that she can move forward through the pack and get momentum to get up a climb or through a sprint. And that is just like the number one thing. And I think with the new pack dynamics, that is what you have to do to move forward. No longer does it just sort of carry you through. If you just start pushing more watts, you get stuck in spots, and it's really about heading to the back where you can accelerate and have the momentum to propel you past other riders. And I think it's good personally, because I feel that it gives it a bit more of a real life effort to actually moving forward. Like, that's one of the hardest things is in racing is positioning. So making that harder on Zwift is probably a good thing. Like, for example, watch the way number 10 just flies through the pack here. So we're on a descent. They're coming from the back. They've got a draft power up. And they just fly on through. Sped this up a bit. See how the blob moves around the corners? If you're on the inside, you get moved forward, which I've always hated. So you can see I'm still in the race. There I am, T-Field, with my little pro jersey. 10 minutes in, so I was sticking in pretty well, trying to stay in the middle of the pack, definitely not taking any wind. I was feeling that I was dropping back quite a bit, but when things get hard, it is hard to concentrate and actually implement what you know you should be doing. So that's half a lap down, and now we're heading out to do the other half, which will then form 1 lap, and then we do that twice. When I say we, I mean everybody else and not me, because we're coming up to the part where my race comes to an abrupt halt. It's about here that I get my first message on the screen to say I'm about to be removed. I sort of kept going half-heartedly, thinking maybe it was just an error and sent to everyone. And then we hit the climb. It's really steep and really hard, and it's like, you are being removed, and starts counting down from 10. RIP. Probably a good time to go, considering how hard we pushed this hill both laps. It was quite a reduced group making it over the top, but quite a few people did actually make it back, so still a large number of people, more than 30. Which of course is the number of people that will go through to the next round. The commentator actually mentions how hard the women's race was, seeing 9 watts per kilo at the bottom of the climb pushing into it, and that's why we weren't seeing so many attacks early on, because it was just like at such a high pace. And now cue Emma Belforth. So she makes her move. Well, she's made a few moves, but this one is the one where she breaks free and really shows everyone what she's got. Check out how big the gap is. And there's the pack. Crazy. So that was really just achieved through the classic go on the climb technique. The fact she was able to do that, though, with how hard those climbs were and how stacked this field is, like, these women are so strong. Like, every one of them is so strong. So to be able to break weight on a climb is still super impressive. This is really the deciding final climb before the finish. The field is getting strung out. Emma makes it. She's cruising across the line, and then we've just got this final bunch sprint left from a reduced group, but not a full 30. So the final sprint was quite a long one. I don't know what happened on the descent, but I have a feeling people probably took the momentum through the group and got a bit of a gap, and then they just tried to hold that to the line. But you only had to make top 30, so that's fine. Everybody in that group is safe and through the next round, including Mika. So on to Jurassic Coast we go. So the 30 from that race are now on their way. There is Emma Belforth, who just won the first stage. They had about 15 minutes of recovery between the race, and Emma is off again. So everybody's once more chasing, but she was sort of hanging a few seconds ahead at one point. And I've just sped this up, obviously, but they were really close, so they probably thought they were going to catch and didn't put in that extra little dig to get her. But to be honest, she would have just attacked again and kept trying, because she's showing that she just keeps going and going until one sticks. So for this race, you only had to be top 10. So people didn't really need to chase. They just had to worry about how they were going to play this in a way where they can reserve as much of their energy as possible for a final sprint. So there's Emma once more winning another stage. So a couple of people made early attacks to try and get to the line first, but as you'll see, the group does have so much speed and comes over the top of them, and there at the front is Mika. What a powerhouse. So she smashes the sprint. She did say that she used her aero a little bit early, but didn't really matter because she still beat everybody. And now this is that sprint again, with eyes on Mika. See, she's sitting just behind that first blob of people. It looks like there's 10 or 15 in there. And she's waiting until now to really unleash her sprint. So she would have hit her aero power up, and she's doing an all-out effort and making her way, using the momentum from other riders and the draft she's getting to move through and get to the line first. So she absolutely nails it. She has an amazing sprint to begin with, but her positioning and timing is always so spot on. And in comparison, here's me doing the same course. Nowhere nearly as good. So this is one of the community races. There's 167 people in the race. I mean, that makes it a different race. So you can see we're splitting up on the top right in the mini-map, because there is just such a wide range of abilities in a race like this. There's people that should be A that don't know it yet, and, you know, people that are new, people that have done it for a long time, people that have just woken up, and other people that have warmed up fully. So you really get a more wild range of riders, which I love. It keeps it exciting. But obviously I'd like to be a little bit more forward than I am right now. But you can see I'm at 172, 173 beats per minute. I'm pushing above my VO2 max. This is a really, really hard race for me. And I had already watched the women's, and I was trying to implement all of the tactics that I had seen. And I was doing a good job at the beginning with having the momentum to get me up over the climbs, because it is a very undulating course. But sometimes a climb's a climb, and if you don't have the legs, then see ya. But anyway, I didn't do too badly. I did make it over the top relatively intact with what was sort of the front of the group, but as you'll see, it ends up splitting, and the natural selection ends up being a group of about, I think, 15 to 20 or so, and then there's maybe 30, 40 of us behind that, Once it had split, we actually stayed in close contact, that front group, for a long time. And when I say close, we maintained the distance, which again, I think that's the new pack dynamics coming into play there. What you're about to see, I had to come on and just explain. I did not race this well. And I was not watching for where the finish line was. Like, it's probably the most important thing to take notice of, and I totally missed it. I just thought everyone all of a sudden started going really hard, and I was like, whoa, like, I'm not,
I didn't realize
that's beyond my limit. And then when the screen popped up, I was like, oh, I get it now. I was meant to be sprinting. And now Glasgow Crit Circuit, we all know how this one goes, but needless to say, Emma keeps trying to break away. People are on her like a rash, especially Lou Bates. And then it does come down to a final sprint. But have a look at her positioning and the way that she starts at the back and then moves forward as they hit the climb. And then lets herself fall a bit back over the top. So on the descent, she's not on the front. She gets the momentum and is catapulted back up the next climb. Okay, and now we are into the finish. So 600 meters to go. Emma has gone once more for the long range attack. There's a couple of keen beans trying to hunt her down, not wanting to take the chance that she might get away. They pass her, but as you'll see, Mika is playing the patient game. So there's this final turn, this left-hander coming up, and that's usually when you would build up your momentum before the corner and then sprint your little heart out as soon as you turn. So that is exactly what Mika has done, because she's the one that taught me that. And she is coming through hot. She's currently taking the win. She had 2 riders on her wheel, which was unfortunate because obviously they got a bit of a draft and they just got over her at the line. And Mika ended up coming third, which is still absolutely phenomenal. The winner won $7,000 and a gold Wahoo kicker bike. I want to show you what happened in the men's race. Quick appreciation for my Movistar guys. They did so awesome.
Despite the fact that Vidar Mel, having won the opening race, is on the front, it's Hans and Mika Kaminski.
But the rider I want you to watch here is the guy at the back.
We still have 10 riders together. It is going to come down to this final sprint. Watching Kaminski, the Polish champion, drop right back. I wonder whether he's waiting for some kind of layback, because look at the watts per kilo. I don't think he's getting dropped, Matt. I think he's waiting to try something, a surge through that group maybe.
Yeah, he's one of the smartest riders out. Look at that. He's using his power up now, so he's going to get that benefit of the draft. He's holding it there, and then he's going to use the momentum. There we go. He's using. He won't get the benefit of the draft now, but he used it. They're saving energy. 850 meters to go, Jess. Kaminski, the Polish champion, 10 watts a kilo, 758 watts. He is flying. This is an attempt to try and win this one. It's the Gold Concept Z1 bike. It's $7,000. He's clear.
Kaminski, what a ride. We saw it, didn't we? He almost telegraphed it to us, but I don't think the others would have noticed. He dropped right back, used his power up, absolutely perfect Zwifting. That is gamification in process, in game, in the race, and he now leads. What's he got? Nearly 4 seconds. Is there any hesitation? They can't hesitate now, surely. There's 300 meters to go. Kaminski's riding away with this, but here they come. They are going to be chasing him down all the way to the finish line. This is it. You can see the finish line. Kaminski is looking like he's going to be our sprint champion. The pole. Look for them coming into the shot beneath. Is he going to make it? Yes, he is. He's going to be our opening champion on the opening night.
And this is the win, remember. Like, this is $7,000 and a gold Wahoo kicker bike. It's just, I don't know. I would have never thought to do it the way he did it. So that was the Zwift Games Sprint Championship. There are 2 more championships to come. The Epic will actually be in like less than 24 hours from me posting this. And then there's also the Zwift Games Climb Championship. Neither are really my forte. I think the sprint was probably my best bet at a decent result, but oh well. I'm excited anyway. I always love racing on Zwift, so if you have been doing some of these Zwift Games community races, I'd love to hear what you've tried doing or what you've noticed about pack dynamics and what's working well. There's still races to come. There's makeup races as well. So Get out there, give the Zwift Games community races a go, try some of these tactics and let me know if they're working for you. I would love to get some feedback on that. Otherwise, good luck with whatever races you've got coming up and I'll catch you next time.